Okay, so today my goal is just to show you guys how to transfer over to doing some self-management, which I know, Linda, you're new, right? You don't currently have any Airbnbs.
No, but I just closed today and it's an active Airbnb.
Okay, that's
And
great.
I
So you're
have
getting a
like,
jump start.
yeah, it's I have a guest in there and I they were able to let me, I guess I had to transfer all of the listings from VRBO and Airbnb onto my listing, and I was able to copy and paste all their photos and then all their listings. I haven't seen the property. It's in North Carolina.
Okay.
So, but I visited North Carolina, so I kind of have a general, my forensic science. I've kind of been able, I think I can kind of fake it. Um, but I think I have questions about like integrating and marketing and searching. Like I'm sure everybody else does too. So
Okay,
yeah.
great. And then Alana and Ben have a home right near mine in Big Bear. They bought about the same time as me. So they've been with Avant Stay pretty much for this whole time. But with, a little bit slowing in the market, more inventory, it does make sense if you can self-manage, you'll keep that extra percentage. Because the way the management companies work, they take their piece off the top, and then whatever's left, you have to pay all your bills and all the things, all the repairs, and then you get whatever's left. And so a lot of times the management companies are making more than us. Um, so it is pretty simple. We have four houses now, and we probably only spend about 4 hours a week on management. It's really not a lot. I think the key is to utilize as much, technology as you can. So I have a tech stack I've figured out. It's not the end all be all. And I don't claim to be like, the absolute expert in this. I can just show you guys what's been working for us. Um, so the first thing, let me screen share. So obviously you already have all your listings set up. Before I get into like my channel manager and stuff, do you guys have any general questions about the listings? No? Okay.
I think, well, in our case, if it's listed now under Avance, that we would have to change it to be under ours, right? Like our account, stuff like that.
Correct. If they own the listing, you would have to probably start over, and you may not own your photos. If they paid for all the photography and stuff, most likely you'll want to schedule like a new shoot, and I can help you. I have a great real estate photographer and stuff. So, um, if you guys look, I just posted I have a listing up in Arrowhead right now, and the photography is stunning. The video was really
I
good. So I could,
saw, looked really nice.
yeah, yeah. So I can give you that photographer. He's up there. Um, so yeah, I mean, you'll probably have to redo some of that stuff. And obviously we're coming into busy season now. So if you're gonna jump ship, you want to get going quick. The good news is whenever you start a new listing, you get a new listing bump. So that first 30 days, you're shown more. It's really a huge incentive. So, and then of course you just need to get a bunch of good reviews so you could become super host. For me, Airbnb is, I would say, 95% of my business. At the beginning, we got some VRBOs. We just don't get a lot of action on there. I don't know why. Some people say that's their main source or their only source, but for us, Airbnb is pretty much most of our bookings. We tried booking.com for a minute, and I have some horror stories from that. So I'll share that another time. But just be very careful if you do booking.com. It's not, you're not protected in the same way. There's no really checks and balances like you get with Airbnb where they like check the ID and make sure, there's no review process. And so, long story short, we ended up with people with fake credit cards, fake names that just got out of OC jail. So it was terrible.
Wow.
um, okay, so let me show you what we do. We use, I'm going to do a screen share. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, let me get to, I had my tabs already open. So I use Guesty. We have tried several channel managers. We ended up settling on Guesty for hosts, which used to be called Your Porter, mostly because it's very cost effective and it really does everything we need to do, and it has its own website. So we do have a website through this. It doesn't look amazing. I'll show you real quick. It looks, I mean, it's okay. It's very basic, but if we want direct bookings, people can come on here and then they don't pay the fees. We usually just offer this to previous, like people that have been guests before. or people we know, just because the Airbnb does give that extra level of, protection. But we do have this and a lot of people like to book direct for their second time coming. So Guesty is what we call a channel manager. So we have all of our listings on here and then their calendars. If you just have one property, you may not need this. You can just link the calendar. But what's awesome about this is I can control everything in this hub. I can see all my reports, and then this pushes out to all these. So you can see it says Airbnb, Booking.com, and VRBO, even though I'm currently not on Booking. They're all there. So like, and I can control the pricing. I have my pricing through another app called Price Labs. So I set it up in Price Labs, and then it feeds to this, and then this feeds to all the websites. And then this makes sure you don't double book. So, this guy it tells you these are all Airbnb bookings. So these people all booked an Airbnb. So it will block the calendar on the other sites. Even if you take a direct booking, I think I have one up here somewhere. Yeah, like this is my family. So it will block it on all the other websites. What else can I tell you? We have our cleaning automated through this. So we have our cleaning teams at each house and our handyman, and we can set automatic alerts or text to them that tells them to clean, and like how many guests. You could leave notes there. So, our cleaning team pretty much knows our checklist. We have a checklist, and I leave pictures. When I train them, I show them how I want my guest basket, all the things, like photos are really helpful. And then it will automatically, they just know to go. So I don't have to do anything. So I don't have to say, hey, we have someone checking in. Hey, we have someone checking out. It automatically goes through this app to them and they just go. And then I have it set up that they just bill me. Some cleaners, they bill me each time, some once a month. It depends on how big a company they are. There's also this Turno on here, which is it's like an Uber for cleaners. So if you're like in a pinch, your cleaner no shows or something, you can use that to find a cleaner. I went through the training, but I haven't ever used it, just because we have a pretty good system with the cleaners that we already have. They're already trained, but that is there if you want to try it. And then we have our automated messaging in here. So for us, like everything is automated except for the initial. So say someone inquires and they say, we'd like to book, these dates. We have 12 guests. And we're bringing our pit bull or something. We will respond and say, well, we only allow small dogs, whatever it is, any questions you have, you kind of interact at the beginning. But then once they book, all the messages are automated. So they're going to get, a welcome message with their door code. And they're going to get a link to our guide, which has, all the things they can do like in the area and things like that. Any questions about the house, the guide, we have all virtual. So you can add videos like how to work. The more information you give, the less people will bother you. So we try to provide as much as possible. So it's less work on our end, because you'll always get similar questions, right? Like how to work the nest, how to do the jacuzzi, whatever the questions you always get, how to get the grill to work, something like that. You can have a video or directions for each of those things. And then we have QR codes. So you could have a sticker QR code on the grill, for example, or the one I chose, and I went through trainings for like a million different guidebooks. This one's called Welcome Guide. I'll show it to you. There's, I like it because when they log into the internet, they have to they can put in their email. And so what that means is we're building a database of every guest, not just the one that books, but every guest that signs into Wi-Fi that we can then remarket to for direct bookings. My goal is to be a little bit more self-sufficient. So no matter what happens with Airbnb fees or VRBO or any of these different sites, I have like a marketing list of people that I can say, hey, we have a special, or hey, this is going on in Big Bear at this time, or this is going on in Temecula. Here's the link to book, and repeat guests get a discount. So with this welcome guide, it will capture all that. And what this welcome guide also has is a direct, I'll show you real quick.
What's the welcome guide called?
It's called the welcome guide.
Oh.
So here it's like this. So we have all our houses, but the other cool thing, and if you guys want to try this, I think I get like a discount code. I'm like an ambassador for them, so I can give you that code. But let's just say, the person goes to this one. It's integrated with Viator. So say they want to book, I have like my upsells on here, pet fees, pool gate, late checkout, things like that. But say they want to book, I don't know, a tour. Maybe it's not showing on here because it's a preview, but Viator has, it's like kind of like Expedia or TripAdvisor, but it has all these trips or like experiences you can book. And so it's directly integrated with my guest book. So if people book it, I actually make money. So it's just something you can offer as a convenience for your guest. But say they decide, oh, we're going to do, a hot air balloon ride, and they book it through here because it's, well reviewed and everything. It makes it easy for them. I actually make money off that. So it's like an additional revenue stream, but also a convenience for the guest. So I really liked this one after trying all the different, I went through all the different trainings for the different welcome guides, and this one's really reasonably priced. So after our Zoom, I can send you guys a link if you want to check it out. So the Guesty for Host is like the hub. So I have in the automated messages the link to that, and then anything they would need. And then it also asks them for the review. I ask them for a 5-star review when they leave. I say, it's 5 or die, because some people don't understand that. They think, oh, 4 stars is a good review, but as we know, that is not a good review. So I really explained to them, like, please let me know if you have any feedback. We strive to be a 5-star property. If there's anything that wasn't as expected, please let us know. And with Airbnb, it's 5 or die. So we really appreciate your feedback. And then most people will respond like, of course, we'll give you 5 stars, but just so you know, like some of the rugs are kind of lifting in the corners. I got one today, like, just so you know, like the pillow's got a little stain that we're outside. I'm like, okay, great. We'll replace those. I'm glad you let me know, but please don't put that in the review, so we've been getting much better reviews since I started automating that message. What questions you guys have about like the channel manager stuff?
I think our questions are more related to logistics on the management side, less so like this. At least I think that's right,
this is really all we do. So like once you set up your tech in your pricing and you have your cleaners.
Well, I think that's the question. Getting the cleaners. Do you have a local person who can deal with issues? Those.
Yeah. So we have in each location, we have like a cleaning team and then a backup cleaner. We have a spa cleaner. We have a landscaper. We have a handyman and then a backup handyman. So you have to have like your list, and then of course snow removal. So you have to have like all your people, and like for Big Bear, I can share those with you guys. Linda, I won't have anyone where you are, but I can definitely introduce you to Mason. He was with Avance and does real estate in South Carolina, and he specializes in SDR, so he might have some resources for you in Carolina.
The sellers had a huge comprehensive list. Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
And then I have some and some of them are they're like, this list is worth your weight in gold. So
it is. So once you find your good people, sorry to cut you off. Yeah. Once you find your good people, like that's 90% of the battle. Our review really always comes down to the cleaners. They're like the most important. And then a handyman if anything breaks. And then I think Alana, like the biggest thing to know is like things do go wrong, things do break. Like you can't really worry too much. Like you just have to be okay knowing like you're gonna have to replace stuff all the time. I think that's the hardest challenge for like new managers because we put so much love into, I know you guys did, into like decorating and renovating and stuff and just picking out everything. And so when things break and go wrong, like you have to just know that's part of it. And I save like everything I buy from my Airbnbs. I save the invoices so I can, get reimbursed if they break and reorder. Towels, wine, supplies are just kind of, you have to figure out your cadence. I typically will Amazon those to my cleaner in Big Bear because Big Bear, it's hard to get deliveries. Or when we go up, we'll bring up a big Costco run and restock everything. I try to go up like once. I try to go to each of the houses once a quarter, but that hasn't been happening now that we have 4. I haven't been to the desert in a while. So that team's really good about telling me like when things need to be replaced, and then I just Amazon them or Costco, or I pay them to go to Costco. But that's it. I mean, what else about logistics are you thinking?
Do you like when the guest leaves or checks out at 11 or whatever time, do you check in to make sure that they've left, or you just kind of assume, or
When they leave, well, my cleaners come pretty much right after they check out because we're often back to back.
okay.
So usually my cleaners are there by 11:05, and they'll call me if the guests aren't out, and then we'll call the guests and find out what's going on. Um, you're running late? Do you need an extra 5 minutes? But my cleaners are pretty much there right away. But we can see on our Ring cameras and everything, like when people leave. So all of our houses have cameras in the front, on the driveway, and at the door, so we can kind of see who's coming and going. It's very rare. Sometimes you do have an issue where, like, we did have guests that refused to leave, and they said they thought that it was 24 hours from check-in that they got, which, I mean, no hotel does that or anything. I don't know where they got that, but it was obviously like a scam. They were trying to stay, and then we said, well, we can charge you a slight fee and you can stay. And they said they paid it, but they never did. It was just, you sometimes get those problem guests. Having a really good like handyman or local person that can get people out if needed is good. We've only had to do that once with the people that did the booking.com. And then once there was a party and we sent our handyman to kind of go check it out and tell people to leave out the front door because we didn't want to get a fine. So you do need those people that are like your hands on the field, but really you're just like managing from above. And I mean, 99% of the time a stay is without a hitch. You don't have to do much.
And then you like have a schedule for replenishing like sheets and towels and like all those things, like the cleaners tell you like when you need to reorder.
Yeah, I just have them let me know, like if I buy extras, like I have a ton of everything, but if something gets ruined or stains, I just have them let me know. Because we try to charge the guest. If it's just like normal wear and tear and we need replenishing, they'll let us know. And anytime I go to any of the houses, I'll usually check in like, hey, we're doing a Costco run. I'll be up there this weekend. Is there anything we're low on? But you could set that up with your cleaners to like, even I have them sometimes take pictures of my stock room because I know how it's organized and like if things are low. At one point I had it on an Excel sheet, but I think asking a cleaner to like track that is a little above and beyond. So
I didn't realize you could charge the guests for those things.
you absolutely should. If it's like something beyond like normal wear and tear, like, your towels fade or get a stain or something, I wouldn't charge a guest. But like spilled wine on your couch and you have to have it professionally cleaned, you could definitely charge a guest for that. Or, broken wine glasses, or, it's all within reason, because remember, some guests will be upset and then give you a bad review. And to me, like a $15 glass is not worth a bad review.
Right.
But also timing. So the trick is like, do the review part first. I think you could put a draft in of whatever repair with the pictures to Airbnb, and then just leave it as a draft. And then after you get your review, gee, this glass was broken. We tried to fix it. I'm making this up, but like, we tried to clean the couch. Unfortunately, the stain didn't come out and we have to replace the whole couch. Here's the receipt and here's the thing and blah, blah, blah after the review. That's kind of the way to do it. So, it's sad, but some people will be like retaliatory even though they cause damage. And sometimes they just refuse to pay, but that's what the air cover's for. So if you try to get, like, I think you guys knew, like, we had these guests and somehow they knocked over an entire cement wall under our pool equipment. Like, it was a huge thing. We had to get all new, it was brand new pool equipment. We had to replace it all. The wall was like, it was crazy. I think they were jumping off of it. But of course they denied the charge. They said it wasn't their fault. They weren't going to pay. And so that's where your air coverage or your insurance would step in. But you have to first ask the guest.
Is air coverage automatic?
Yeah, Airbnb gives you, I think it's $1 million now of air coverage with every stay. So that's one of the benefits of Airbnb. VRBO is a little different. The guest will pay for trip insurance. So you can make that mandatory, and then they pay a percentage of their stay for the trip insurance. And the other alternative is you could take a security deposit. But in a case like that, I mean, no one who wouldn't, that cost us like, I don't know, it was like 10 grand. You're not going to have a $10,000 security on hand. So the insurance is really important. We have an additional, in addition to Airbnb and VRBO insurance, we have an additional rental policy on our home insurance. And we have an umbrella policy on Elk and I just for liability.
I think we have that too, right?
Yeah. So
Okay.
like, I think Linda, you were asking me in an email about like having it in an LLC and or an S corp or all those things, and people always ask me about that. If you ask any lawyer, they'll tell you to have every home in a separate LLC. That way, if you are sued, they can't go after your other assets. However, each LLC has to file taxes. And I guess like at 4 houses, I don't want to, plus I have 2 other businesses. Like I am not going to do 6 sets of books. Like that's just not, for me, not worth it. So because of the price points of our homes, like we've bundled some together in one LLC. And then we, so for us, we bundle like 3 or 4 homes in an LLC. And then we have another LLC that's like with a partner for a property. So that umbrella policy will protect us in the most case. And then we have an S corp that we run all the business through. So our homes are actually not owned by the S corp, if that makes sense. So we file for each LLC and S corp, but the assets aren't owned by those. Our assets are actually in our trust. So you have to talk to your CPA and a lawyer probably to figure out the best setup for you. But it all really comes down to your equity and like how much money you're comfortable with in like one bucket. Everyone has it.
Sorry, is your umbrella is the umbrella policy an LLC umbrella policy, or is it just in your
No,
own?
it's our own umbrella, and it should be your entire net worth.
Okay.
So, if you look at all your equity and all your different properties and your personal properties and your other assets, and you figure out your net worth, your umbrella should cover all of that.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
so I was kind of told to do like a LLC for the property itself, and then have a holding company in Wyoming, or you could do it in like Delaware or
Delaware and
Nevada, I think maybe as well.
Nevada have more landlord-friendly law.
Yeah.
And you certainly can do that. Because we live in California and all our properties are in California, it doesn't matter. If you're working in California, you need to have, and then you file as an out-of-state. California is still getting their piece.
Right.
So it doesn't, for us, it was like, we're not going to just file more stuff. It didn't really give us any added protection, because if something happens in California, in our California property, we're going to be sued in California. It doesn't really matter if we're incorporated in, Delaware. But that might make more sense for you if you have properties in different states.
Yeah. And then when you sign all the do you put your utilities under, do you put it under your personal name, or do you put it under your LLC's name?
We have everything in our business, under the business.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
because
like,
you don't want to, there's like that corporate veil there. As soon as you start doing personal stuff, you kind of breaking your corporate veil. So if you're saying you have we have a management company that we own, and that company is managing these LLCs. So everything's in the name of the management company. And that gives us another layer of protection.
okay. That's what I was thinking too. Initially, I put it under my name because they were like, oh, it's more personal, like, it's private, they can't find you. But then I switched it over to, my LLC name. But then when you sign all the paperwork, you sign like, Amanda Jacob Bellis, like manager of something, LLC.
Yeah. You could be
Okay.
it's like managing member, or for you, if you're the sole member, you could just
Okay.
be the CEO or president or whatever you want to call yourself. It doesn't matter. But then you're working as an employee of that company. And again, I'm not a lawyer, so these aren't really questions for me. This is just what I do. I would say that's something you'd want to check with your attorney on.
Okay. And then same with like the Airbnb W-9s and stuff. The name is Asheville. Well, for me, it's like, my LLC company, but then the home address would be like your personal home, right?
I would recommend having a PO box or a business address. I don't like anything tied to my home address, but
Even for your LLCs. Okay.
for anything everything for me goes to a corporate address. Like I don't want, because it's all public, right? If your corporate address is your personal address, that's public knowledge. So now people know where you live, and then they could say, oh, you own this other home. So I choose not to do that.
Okay. Yeah, that's where I'm getting very like confused because I guess the tax, you want to make sure like the tax people, some places like a bank says you can't put it in like a traveling mailbox. It has to be like a physical address. And
Yeah, so like if you get a box at the UPS station or something, it will look like a real street address. So
okay.
I wouldn't get like a box at the post office because that's just like a PO box. But if you go to the UPS store, you can buy a mailbox and it will give you like a suite number. So your box would be a suite number. There's also virtual offices that will do your mail. I mean, if you work from home, I have an office, so I send things to my office. But if you work from home, I would definitely look into getting some sort of corporate address just to create distance between your personal assets. Now, it might not matter right now if you don't own a home or something like that, but like once you own a property and like, usually your primary is your biggest asset. So you want to kind of separate that.
Right, right. Yeah.
And it might not be something you have to do right now, but maybe as you grow.
Yeah, it's just like the Airbnb always has me like put in my name, right? Or, put in your like, you have to put in the name, like the LLC, and then your EIN number. And then
Mhm.
afterwards it asks you for the address. And then I'm like, will they accept, because I do have a traveling mailbox, like I mentioned, or, will they accept that? Because I know Chase was saying that because I was going to put something through my registered agent, and they were like, "Oh no, you can't do that because they're flagging that address because they know that it's registered agent address or it's a virtual
I think
address."
a checking account is probably like different, but again, I don't know the answer to that. I mean, you'd have to check with Airbnb. You can use like a business address for all your tax documents and stuff. And my bank goes to my business address, but again, it's a real office. I would assume though, I don't know with the bank. Maybe they are trying to prevent fraud, so they don't want like a
Yeah, I think that's the
yeah.
case.
So I
Okay.
mean, I don't know because I have a real office, but you could send it to like an attorney's office, or you could have someone that represents your business. I don't know. You'd have to find that out.
Okay.
Um, you could check with the UPS address because that's like a suite number. So it will say like 200 Pier Avenue, Suite 205, and that's like it just goes to the UPS store.
Okay. Gotcha. Thank you.
Sure. You guys have any other logistics questions or anything that you want me to show you price labs a bit?
Yeah, it's a question. I've also heard about like owner res and like hostfully and hospitable. Are those all kind of similar to what Guesty does?
They are. They're all what's called a channel manager. You can try them and just see what works for you. Um, I've had clients using them. Owner Res does a lot. Like it does like the bookkeeping in it and stuff. I think it's just for me, it was more than I needed and it was like overwhelming. Like it was complicated to me. It does a lot, but I think for like a few properties, it's just overkill personally. But people do like it. My client that uses it works for Google though, so I think she's like super techie. I don't know. For me, it was a little bit much. But check them out and see what works for you.
Okay.
I had tried Logify and Hostfully, and then I landed on Guesty for host. And for me, it was just like the lowest price, the simplest. It did exactly what I needed. It's not really a lot of bells and whistles, but it does all the features I needed, which is the auto message, the cleaning, the free website, the calendar management. Like I don't really know what else there would be. I don't need it to do my books. I use QuickBooks. So I think with one property, it's probably simple. I think it's like $10 a month or something on this. It's pretty cheap.
Okay.
Some of those others might just be more than you need. But check them out and see resonates with you. I'm not like, I don't get any kickbacks or anything. I don't care.
Simple, yeah. No, simple is good. Simple is definitely good. I've heard nightmares. Well, I've heard a lot of people I know use owner-res, but I also heard that it's very painful, like what you said, to figure out. Like they spend 12 hours trying to figure it out. And I just want something very like,
What you
simple.
can do on this that I love is like, say this guy, he wanted to stay an extra night and we upsold him as like a late checkout. So what that means is we'll have him Zelle us a fee for the later checkout, and he's not paying the Airbnb fee or the taxes. It's just like an extra fee, and we gave him an extra night. So that's not going through Airbnb. It's just extra money, but we want to track it for our own records. So what I love on here, you can, so this is all the messages that went out. And then on here, you can see other 150. So we can track our income and get actual reports, even though it probably won't show on Airbnb because it wasn't through their platform. So I like that. So you could edit this, and it's hooked up to our Stripe, so we can take other payments through Stripe if we want. Any questions on the Guesty stuff before I show you Price Labs? They do have a price optimizer, but I don't use it. And you don't want to use the Airbnb smart pricing. You guys all know that, right? Everyone knows it's like way too low. They'll just put your property way too low. I do have a couple settings on Airbnb going. I have a monthly discount and a weekly discount. And then I have an upcharge if it's more than so many people. So like, say we allow up to 12 people, but like that's a lot of wear and tear on our house. And we hope that those 2 extra are like kids, or, we try not to have 12 like partiers. But so say we allow up to it, so we show, but maybe after 10, we charge $100 a person per night. So if someone does have 12, they're paying more than someone that has 10 or 8. So you could set that fee up in Airbnb, and you can't do it like that in VRBO, but I really like that. So like we can incentivize the smaller groups, but still allow bigger groups. They just pay more, so it's kind of worth it.
If you're only managing one property, would you just use, like, not this site, but you'd use Airbnb? Or
if you're doing one, I would still use this because you pay per property. And if you're gonna go on VRBO 2, which I think you should, you might as well be on both because you get more eyes. Then this will make it that you don't get a double booking.
Do you pay a fee? Sorry if this is ignorant. I don't know that much about it, but like for VRBO, like we just got this charge from Bonstay, like an annual subscription fee for, I think, VRBO. I wasn't sure is that a thing?
So you can do it 2 ways on VRBO. Yeah. You can give them a percentage, just like Airbnb, or they have a plan where you pay yearly and you do all your own payments and stuff. So probably Avantstay does that. They pay for a subscription, but then they take their payments and they pay the credit card fee and whatever else, but they probably make a little more money that way. I have it now. I've done it both ways. When we were with Lodgify, I had it like that. Now we just do the percentage. It's just fine. So they take the payment, they do everything just like with Airbnb, and they pay us.
It's just you get less in your payout, essentially.
It's just the same as Airbnb where they take a percentage. I think it's like 12 or whatever. And then you can set it up in Guesty to add different fees. So let's say VRBO takes 12% and Airbnb takes 10% or something. You can charge an extra 12% or an extra 2% for the VRBO bookings. You could set it all up in Guesty. And all this automated messaging and all the website, all that's on Guesty. If you don't have Guesty, you can't set up all that automation. So I really recommend it. I think it will save you. What it saves you in time and effort and energy will be well worth whatever it charges a month for your one property. And then I can always just go to one place and see my calendar. And like, even just say like right now, like say, okay, it's late in the day. This one hasn't booked. I want to do a last minute discount. I can just go in here and change it, and changes it across everything. I don't have to go to 2 different sites. You could do like a quick, like say I want to grab these and make all those dates, a 2-night minimum. I can do that really quick right here on the multi-calendar. The other thing I have set up, which, if you end up having more properties, is like I have this 2 desert homes. What that is like if people want to rent both of our homes in the same neighborhood, they can, but because like this one booked, it automatically blocks off the 2 homes. So it's all like linked. So no one can book both homes together, obviously, because this one guy's coming to one of the houses. So you can like link things if that ever becomes somewhere you grow. Like this one here blocked our 2 houses. And then you can see your reports if you go to menus. There's the website, and then you can see your expenses, and then you can see all your income. So I can look by house, or I can look at all my properties. Like it all shows on here, and it will show you like your gross, your net. If there's cleaning fees, any platform fees will show on here. And this will include anything you manually added. So late fees, early checkout, any fees, pet fees, you could add that manually. If you add it manually, it will show here. So you'll know your actual numbers, which is really helpful to know if you're profitable, I think. It tells you how many nights are booked, your percentages, things like that.
Does
So
Airbnb, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Does Airbnb and VRBO take out a percentage for the pet fees as well? Is it like just per night, or is it the total stay?
It depends how you have it set up. I do my pet fee via Zelle, so it doesn't get taxed or feed, because the way it is in Airbnb, it's a flat fee. So if you want to charge a pet fee, it's like $200, and that's for the whole stay. We charge per pet per night. So if someone wants to bring 2 dogs for 2 nights, we're going to multiply it $50 per pet per night. And then we have them Zelle us for 2 reasons. One, we get the money right away, but because you don't get the payout with Airbnb until they check in. It's like 24 hours after. So we like to sometimes get that cash flow, but also then they're not paying the Airbnb fee on it or the taxes on it. Because I don't think they shouldn't really be taxed on it. It's just a pet fee, or so that's why we do it that way.
Okay. You just put it in the messages, like, or
yeah. So it might say something like, hey, Linda, we do allow 2 small dogs, but I don't know what that is, but we charge a $50 per night per pet fee. You can Zelle us at this address. And we have a Zelle for our business, yourdestinationhomes@gmail.com. So everything's through the business account, the business checking. So when they put it in, it's all professional. But we just have them Zelle us, and then, we won't give a door code until they pay. So like say they want extra guest fee, whatever their fee is. Like sometimes we allow events. They have to pay the fee before we'll give them the code, because it's hard to get it later. All right, let me show you guys. I won't keep you forever. I'll show you Price Labs real quick. So Price Labs is a pricing tool that's dynamic, meaning it will go up and down with your settings based on demand, based on, whatever, however you set it. So there's a little strategy, and they have webinars that'll help you do it when you get set up. But your calendars are in here, and you can set up all kinds of customizations. So the way it works is you determine a base price, and then all of these are percentages up or down on your base price because of certain factors. So it could be demand, it could be because it's a holiday, it could be the day of the week. You create all these different percentages up and down, and it will automatically update your calendar every night at midnight. So what's good about that is it looks like you're actively updating your site with Airbnb, which is good for the algorithm. But also, if all of a sudden tons of people are booking, it will put your price up for you automatically. You don't have to be on there every day checking and changing the pricing and like maybe missing out on money. If it's a holiday, it will know, so you don't have to be on top of it necessarily. Although I do still check my calendar at least like once a month. You can't really just set it and forget it. And if I slow down, I go in and I adjust things. But see, it will tell me my occupancy is 43% in the next 7 days. It's a little slower, kind of still in the shoulder season. For the next 30 days, it's 50%. So based on that, it's going to give me certain price increases. The other thing it shows you is your neighborhood data. So you can see where you're at based on similar. This is a 6-bedroom in Temecula. So I can see where my pricing is based on the neighborhood. And you'll see how I have it set up. My weekends arch up, my weekdays drop down. What that does is it incentivizes longer stays. And if people just want the weekend, they're paying top dollar. So people that come for a week pay a more medium price. People that come longer, the pricing is averaged out. If they're just coming Friday, Saturday, they're paying more because I'd rather people stay a little longer. And then I have like a last minute discount. That's why here it looks pretty low. So these colors show you, the 50th, 75th, 90th percentile and where I'm at. You could see this is like New Year's Eve. So I have a premium on my New Year's Eve. And then far out, I have like a 30% increase if people book way far in advance. But you can, play with it however you want, but that's how I have it set up. It lets you go in here and customize all your things, like minimum night stay, how you want your occupancy-based adjustments. There's default and then there's aggressive. You could decide. But I really recommend like you take the little training with the girl because she'll spend like an hour helping you get it set up. She's really helpful. I can always look at it for you guys too when you get started, but
What's the fee for this or for using this service?
I don't remember off the top of my head. And also we have lots of properties. We can see it says if you go on Price Labs, it's .co, not .com. You can see what their pricing is. To me, like any of these things are worth it because it's not a huge amount. It's not like hundreds of dollars, and it's going to prevent you from leaving money on the table. It's going to help you adjust with occupancy and stuff and get you shown more because it's automatically updating. And who has time to do that every day? Like you might in the first week or two because you're excited. But after a while, life happens, kids have sports, whatever's going on, birthday parties, you're not going to be checking your prices every day. And then someone's going to book and you're going to be like, oh, shoot, like that was supposed to be like the Veterans Day up more because the long weekend and I missed it. So it will help prevent errors.
Yeah.
Yeah. It will also help guide you because like, you said that you felt the pricing was too low, that Avant Stay had your pricing low for holidays. It's going to let you see what everyone else is doing and help you kind of be in the middle or in the top or in the bottom, depending on your, where you rank your home compared to the others. And you could actually see the listings and stuff and really compare like what you think yours is, say you have 2 4-bedrooms, but theirs is like, brand new construction designer, and maybe they're going to charge a little more. Maybe yours is closer to the mountain, maybe you're going to charge a little more, whatever it is. It will let you see all that. And so you can price, and then you just set the percentages and it automatically goes. You don't have to do each day. So I recommend this one. I think it's the best. They have AirDNA has something similar, and then there's something built into Guesty you could try. But from all the education I've taken, the Price Labs just seems to me to be the best. But you could play around with things. I don't use this market dashboards. I don't really know what that is, so I can't speak to it.
And then you take care of paying all I know there's like, I don't know if it's transient tax. I don't know. We haven't dealt with it because we haven't had to do it ourselves, but like you have that.
Quarterly you pay your taxes, the TOT. It's pretty easy. Like you can print a report from Guesty, or if you're just doing Airbnb, you can just print it from Airbnb and it will tell you exactly what to pay. And you fill in the numbers and send it in. I have Elk do that. We each have our things. So like I do a lot of the like talking to the guests and making sure everything's perfect in the design. And he does a lot of the like sending the legal forms. That's one thing we do. So we have a Panda doc or like a DocuSign that has our house rules. They're exactly the same as what we have on the site, but most people don't read them. So we have them actually sign, and we have them actually put their home address and upload their ID into the chat. One, the county requires us to get the ID. So you just have them upload it into your chat, whatever platform they're on. And also having them write their home address proves that this is not a like residence. And so it prevents that like, the thing that's happening now where people just don't move out and they say they live there. So by proving that they have a home address and that they're just visiting by signing all that, it will protect you if they try to claim like, eviction laws or anything like that if they're staying on for a longer stay. So we just have them fill that out, sign the rules. And many times people will say, oh, we noticed this that they didn't read before. So it just reiterates the rules and you'll have that on file.
That's not through Airbnb, or it's through DocuSign as a separate.
No, we use PandaDocs because it's free.
Oh, you said
and we just send a link. So we have the same one, and we have one for each house, and then we just send them the link. I think Elk does that manually.
I was going to say, so after they book through Airbnb, somebody sends
a link. Okay. You could probably somehow automate it. I don't know. I'm sure there's a way to automate it, but he just does it manually. It's the same doc. He just forwards a new link to a blank one or something.
Sorry, what do you put in there? Their driver's license and what else?
For the PandaDoc, it's just a reiteration of all the rules that we have on the site, and they just have to sign it and then write their home address.
Okay. So
it will ask them to fill in their home address, and then we ask for a copy of their photo ID in the chat.
Okay.
Which sometimes that prevents issues too, because they put that in and then you see it's not them, or it's someone that's like below your age limit, or, it's just another screening process to help protect you. But the county does require it. So if people give pushback, I just give them a link to the county rules. Like, this is a requirement. I don't know about in obviously North Carolina, but all the counties here that I have houses in require it. So we just let them know, like, we're so sorry for any inconvenience. It's a county requirement, just like when you go to a hotel, it's to, verify identity, and we don't do anything with your information. But a few people have given us pushback, but most people know that that's the law. And then once we show them the link to the county rules, and they capitulate. I don't know if there's anything else really. Like, there's a whole strategy session on pricing and stuff that, like, once you guys get into it, I can help you. As far as marketing, I don't do too much. Like, we kind of let the sites do the heavy lifting. I'm in the same groups as you on Facebook, where like if people are like, hey, I'm looking for a place in Big Bear, I'll
you're
send my link. I try to. The reason why I never really get bookings from any of that. But what it does is it's good for the algorithm on Airbnb that like people are clicking the link all the time. Yeah. So it helps with my, with the click-through rate. And so that's good for my site. So if I'm bored or laying in bed or something, I just go through that Airbnb Mommies, whatever it's called, and I just post my links.
I'm always hesitant because like some people be like, just book directly with me and I'll give you a better whatever. And it's like, I don't necessarily know these people. So like would still want them to go through Airbnb, Yeah,
I just usually put my Airbnb links, and then if it's someone that like messaged me that wants to really book direct, like I kind of suss it out. Like usually if it's like a mom with kids, like it's probably going to be fine, if it's like 10 guys on a bachelor party, maybe we're going to go to Airbnb. So you just have to kind of use your judgment. If it's a neighbor or someone like through a friend, or, someone that stayed with another person in the group, like you could probably ask that person, were they a good guest, or read their reviews or whatever.
Right. Because we've done that where we just have people book directly to us. So we just take all the money. I don't know if you do that, but.
Well, it's always through us since we don't use a management company. So.
Right. But I mean, not through Airbnb. So it's
so that's what that Guesty site, they can do it online. So you don't have to do anything manually. So you just send them your personal link, and they can still book online and pay online through Stripe, and the money just all goes to you. There's no fee. And you could on Guesty set different pricing if you want, or you could do a discount code. So like say, you're a friend of a friend and you want to give them the Thanksgiving 10 or whatever, you can make the code, and then they could book themselves with that and pay. You just set up a Stripe account. I think the account's free, and then Stripe takes the normal credit processing fee of whatever it is, 3%. And it goes right into your bank account.
Cool.
Are you guys overwhelmed? It's not that hard.
Mine are more logistical questions, like, do they wash the towels at your house? Are they using your washing machines? Are they taking it? I have those kind of questions.
Yeah, the cleaners do, but if 10 guests stay, they most likely have to take the laundry and bring it back because it's just
Right.
they're not going to finish, especially if it's a back to back. So you want to make sure, and I can give you a couple cleaners, but you want to make sure you use a cleaner that's like willing to do the laundry off site, or do a laundry service. There are linen services in Big Bear, but you don't want them, like having to depend on your washing and dryer, and then you have a back to back. I know at our
Right.
house, like that's just impossible.
We had that issue with our first management. That's why we got rid of them. So
You just want to make sure you have lots and lots of extras. So I think we have at least like 5 sets for every bed. So if there's a stain and something has to get thrown out, that's probably overkill, but I just rather everything always be clean and perfect. And then, you know what? If 2 stays happen and the cleaner's behind on laundry, we're not in a pinch. I
are
did
you
have
sorry, go ahead.
I did have a cleaner that got really behind, and I came home and like the whole closet was full of dirty laundry. So she is no longer my cleaner. I was like, what the heck? It was like a whole season's worth of laundry was just thrown in there. I had so many extras, but
Wow. Do you do primarily white? Like, is that your thing too?
I do all white because I think it looks clean. Yeah.
Yeah, same. Okay. Sorry. Those are my like sort of silly questions.
No, good question.
Because Avance brought in all their own things for that, we have an entire garage full of probably not 5 sets per bed, but probably at least 2. So it just sort of, we'd have to re-inventory all of our stuff.
Yeah, and like I've gotten over the years more strategic. Like I always try to buy the same size beds. Like I don't buy fulls anymore because so like at least you only need certain sizes. And I try to buy the same stuff at each house now. So I can have extra in my garage. And if something breaks or needs replacing, I have like 1 extra set at my house I can bring to our property. So over the years, I've gotten a little more strategic with it and just learning what holds up. But like dishes and stuff, Macy's always has really good deals. Towels, I usually go to Home Goods, and I used to go to Bed Bath & Beyond, but they're now overstock. I don't know what the sitch is. But sometimes even Amazon has good bulk pricing. Just make sure you buy good quality. Yeah, I can give you links to like, I buy some stuff in bulk. And then for like toiletries and stuff, I do a lot of the big stuff from Costco, like the big shampoos and conditioners, just so it's not as wasteful with like trash.
Yeah, we have they put in those dispenser things, so I guess they fill them up, but
yeah, so your cleaner should be doing all that. And then they should let you know when you're getting like halfway so you can have time to send more.
Have you ever like turned down a guest or when people ask, and how do you do it without hurting your algorithm?
Well, so I always approve them, but I just say I had a guy just message me. He's like, "Hey, we have 30 overnight. They're UCLA students, and we have 30 overnight guests for a retreat. We want a 1 night on a Saturday." And so I just respond like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Actually the limit in Temecula is 20 for any house. So you guys might need to get multiple properties. Our limit's 16. And for weekends, we have a 2-night minimum. But I'll go ahead and pre-approve you in case your plans change." And then I pre-approve them.
They would say
So
no.
I usually never hit decline. I just say like, if you decide not to bring your Rockweiler, we'll be happy to host you. I'll go ahead and pre-approve you. And I always hit pre-approve, but I let them know in writing that like, no, we don't take a Rockweiler. Or, no, we don't take like 57 people.
Mm.
okay.
What else? These are good questions.
I think I'm more, I guess I'm trying to figure out the pricing strategy too, because my issue is that I have like 3 or 4 guests that have booked the cabin, and I have to, like, they canceled with the other 8, the other the sellers, and now I have to put them in, but then like I have to honor their rate. Well, this is probably I don't know what I'm going to do, but like the numbers just don't match up. So I don't know what to do. But then the rest, so I have to worry about that. But then the second part is that I have to worry about the rest of, a lot of these. I think I have some empty dates like in November, and like all of December almost is open. So then I have to figure out how to like market myself or be more visible, and then also to figure out the pricing strategy too.
Well, a few
So
things. You're going to get the new listing bumps, so you'll fill up. The timeline people don't realize for Airbnb, people only book usually about 14 days in advance. It's like a very short lead. VRBO people book further in advance, and they tend to be like a little bit older demographic. Airbnb guests tend to be younger for the most part, and they tend to book pretty last minute, especially depending on your cancellation policy. Um, and then as far as like honoring pricing, like you're a new owner, if you don't feel comfortable with the guest or the pricing, you don't have to take them, and you don't have to take that pricing. You could just say, I'm so sorry, I'm the new owner, and my pricing's different. We'd love to host you, but if it's not right for you, we totally understand. You're not obligated to take their listings.
yeah, there's some North Carolina law, like a vacation rental addendum, which I guess you sign when you're, now in retrospect, like I had an agent who probably wasn't very experienced, and like the seller could cancel those reservations, but they don't want to because it'll hurt them. But
It won't either. So that's what people don't realize. If you sell a property, you can send your bill of sale to Airbnb, and they will cancel all the guests for you without it negatively impacting any of your other listings.
right, they did that, but they didn't know whether or not, like, at the time I just closed, but then some of these guests are kind of, like right now or this week. And so, but long story short, there's this North Carolina rule where you actually do sign a vacation addendum, which says, these dates are blocked, these dates, and then you have to, as a owner, unless they decide to cancel, you have to honor these, at this rate. So I can't like be like, oh yeah, you can. I know it's North Carolina is kind of weird. So
Yeah, I can't speak to that. That seems a little bit crazy, but I mean,
yeah, but
I
now
guess
I
they
can't
have
get it to
rights like
match.
we have for rent control. They have it for short-term rental.
Yeah, but I guess, but yeah, the seller can cancel, but they probably don't want to cancel unless they know that you're actually going to go through. Or they shouldn't have accepted bookings.
They have to cancel it after the sale, so then they send in the document.
Yeah. But anyway, I have to deal with that. But then meanwhile, I'm trying to make sure like the rest of my dates are full. Or, I have to worry about that, I guess.
It's really just as far as marketing, in my experience, it just comes down to like being priced right, great photos, great listings, making sure you check all the boxes. I don't do any real outside marketing. I don't pay for any kind of advertising or marketing.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, all right, guys. If you have anything else, feel free to email me or call me. And once you get going, if you want me to look at your pricing and like tweak it a little, I'm happy to do that.
Thank
Good
you so
luck.
much for your help.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm
That was
excited for you
helpful.
all. Moving on up.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you can send us some of those referrals to cleaners and those sorts of people, that would be amazing.
Yeah, Big Bear is always tough. I know my cleaner that I'm using now, she's got a full schedule. I can send you a couple people I've used in the past though, for sure.
Okay.
And then our handyman. Do you guys need a landscaper?
Probably not.
Okay. Yeah. So, and then we have a spa guy. You don't have a spa though, right?
No.
That's one thing, Ben. You guys should get a spa.
We've
Honestly,
heard mixed things that it's like it's not worth the cost that they book at the times that people are booking. It's going to be booked whether it's got a spa or not. That you're not going to make more money just because of it.
I think that's like a number one thing people look for in the mountains. I think it makes a huge deal. I don't know if there's a way to do like a market study on that, but I do think it's a huge deal. People want that spa. It's not that expensive. You can like, I don't know. And then you could definitely charge more. If you compare two homes, one with a spa without, the one with a spa definitely charges more per night.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have to do the math, but
Yeah.
I think it's like it makes a huge difference. And it's a one-time fee. And then of course you have to pay the cleaning guy to come. But I don't know. I think that's our guest like number one thing is they want the hot tub. It's like a huge deal. So I would look into it.
Okay.
It might be worth it.
Yeah.
All right. You guys have that sledding hill, so that's a plus.
That's true.
All right, guys. Have an awesome
Okay.
week, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
All right,
Thank
bye.
you.
Bye.